And God says, it doesn't matter what other people think. It doesn't matter what media says. It doesn't matter what culture says. Here's what he says. I made you. You're my Rembrandt. You're my masterpiece. You're my sculpture, David. I know you. I understand you. I'm pursuing you because I made you. And then he's going to go on to say, and I have a plan for you. I got a plan for you. I didn't just make you. I have a plan for you. But it requires that you get an accurate view of yourself. In fact, I married a woman who believed a lot of bad mirrors from her childhood, who believed a lot of bad mirrors about getting rejected and hurt and left and abandoned. And I watched her literally for 20 years write down on cards what was true about her, and she taught a little series called Precious in His Sight. I think we might have it up in the bookstore. But it was after 20 years. And I married a woman that, okay, I'm prejudiced, okay? I know she's smart. I know she's beautiful. She's an amazing mom. And she looked in the mirror every day and didn't like herself. And you know, when you don't like yourself, it's hard to receive love. And so you keep trying to prove you're okay some way, somehow. And I watched her write these things on little cards about Psalm 139 and who she is and how God made her. And I literally watched this flower bloom. And I want you to know, trying hard to get the right perspective of yourself will not work. Renewing your mind. It's like what you heard last week. I mean, how does a man lose his wife and 4 kids and come and stand before us genuinely after 10 years and say, God is good? When I watched the video, what I saw over and over was he was getting his perspective about himself, the future, his past, and his life from a God who says, I'm in control and I love you, and in a fallen world, bad things happen, but you're precious to me. Do you believe that about you? You're precious. You really are awesome from God's perspective because he made you. But that's not all. He says, I didn't make you just to be. You're not like something he wants to put on a mantle. He says, I got a plan for you. God has a plan for your life. David would go on to say, all the days ordained for me or planned out for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. How precious are your thoughts, O God? How vast is the sum of them? Were I to count them, speaking of God's thoughts about him, if I were to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. And then sort of this parenthetical, when I awake, I'm still with you. And he begins to hint at, in dark times, even if I died, when I awake, resurrection. You have a plan for this life. You have a plan forever and ever and ever. Now think of this. God says, all the days ordained for you. Now grammatically, this could mean he knows the day you're going to die. Of course, God is all-knowing. But probably better in the context, it's the idea of all the days ordained for you written in your book, the details and the plans and the purpose, he already knows. And what the Spirit of God is doing through people and his word is he has these plans for you that you're uniquely made for. That when you discover what they are, get aligned with people in community at this job, with these people, with this person, at this time, then what you've been dreaming about, you flourish. And you don't have to compare yourself with this person or that person. You don't have to look like them. You don't have to have as much or as little money. You don't have to drive a certain kind of car. You don't have to have a certain body type. Because what you begin to understand is, I'm doing what God made me to do, and the mirror I'm looking at is his mirror of me. And the biggest issue in all of our relationships is our desperate insecurity. And our desperate insecurity causes us to pose, to manipulate, to manage, and to blame. And that's why if you go to any coffee shop and sit quietly and listen, most of the conversations are two people talking about something else or something that happened to them that is unfair and how bad it was. And they feel better telling one another. And that's sad. And so we sort of manage and diagnose and work through, my husband doesn't really come through for me, or my wife isn't very affectionate, or my kids are doing this, and my boss is a jerk, and this is unfair, and that is unfair. As opposed to understanding, you are a vital part of God's plan. you are a vital part of God's plan. He has a purpose for your life. He's a good God, and he has a good purpose. Now, think of this. I don't know about you, but I have 4 grown kids, and, their lives are very full. But when one of my kids texts me and says, "Hey, Dad, just thinking of you today," feels good. Just on that day, they're thinking about me. Or what happened last week, someone actually, this is a very old-fashioned thing, but it was really kind of cool. Someone wrote out a note. It was on paper. And it said something really complimentary and very specific about me, and it was from someone I knew. And I read that. Then I read it again. I don't want to confess that I read it again, but I did. Why? Until we die, you know what you always struggle with? Does anyone really understand me? Does anyone ever really want me for me? Do I really have a purpose? And when you get a note from a person or a text from a kid, are you ready for this? Thousands of times each day, the all-knowing, all-powerful God of the universe is thinking about you. Thousands of times. You say, how is that? Because he's not like you. He can think thousands of times concurrently with 7 billion people and not extend one modicum of energy. He's God. That's how big, that's how high, that's how holy. The entire universe is a little thing. All the nations of the world, Isaiah says, it's like a tiny drop on the side of a bucket. He's a big God. He's a holy God. He's a powerful God. He's an all-knowing God. He's an ever-present God. But he's a personal, intimate God who has a plan for you, who has his hand upon you to guide you, who wants to hold you by the hand, who wants to align his purposes with your purposes. Here's the challenge. In a fallen, evil world, we all kind of want to go our own way. And our own way produces barriers and pain.